Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Monday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, this video. I'm very hesitant to make this video. I've thought long and hard about talking about anything else, anything other than what I'm going to talk about today. I think I'm probably going to be taken to task for this. I'm going to be called out for this, but I've learned to trust my gut instincts over the last 17 years that I've been clean and sober, and I just keep coming back to this story. I was considering doing other stories, and there's several reasons I'll get to at the end of this video of why I want to talk about this, and I have to go with my gut instinct on this. The reason I'm saying this is just yesterday, or the day before, or yesterday, I talked about Danny Matheson, and Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, and my history, what happened to me when I was younger and everything, and sticking up for the victims rather than the perpetrator, and especially what happened to me when I was younger. I won't get into it all now, but if you guys watch my channel, you know the story. Between the times I was 11 to 14, my mother was dating when she first started dating him, he was a police officer, but he retired. And I was sexually abused by him from the ages of 11 to 14. I just have to make sure, okay, I want to make sure I'm over 30 seconds when I said that. Okay, that being said, there's a story in today's news. This just came out Sunday. This just happened Sunday at JFK Airport. And it's about now. I gotta be totally honest up front here. I do not watch WWE. I don't watch wrestling. I don't know this guy. This is the first time I heard this guy's name today. Okay, Matt Riddle. He's a WWE wrestler. His Instagram and all the stories, his Instagram post and everything will be down below. The story will be down below. He's a MMA fighter. He was in high school wrestling. I looked up his whole background. He was married and had kids. I don't know if he's still married. And he had an incident. He claims he had an incident at JFK Airport in New York City on Sunday. And he took a picture of a police officer. And I think this Instagram post is taken down because I found the story on TMZ and other places. It's all over the sports pages and stuff like that. But the actual post, one of the actual posts, there's two posts, and one of them that I'm going to read for you, I couldn't find it, so he might have taken this down, which makes me think I might be right on this. Okay, now his background, I read into his background, and he was suspended from WWE because he failed 2 drug tests, and apparently he likes weed. But here's the thing, they don't test for weed anymore in the WWE. So that being said, there's a good chance that I'm just giving you some background here. Some of the articles I read, he was implicated in the Me Too movement, meaning that I get the impression that he was fingered as a perpetrator of crimes against women, doing something unwanted advances. It just says he was. It just says that he was called out during the Me Too movement. These are things I read. The articles I read them from will be right down below. Like I said, I don't know this guy, but as soon as I read this article, before I even saw his background about the failed drug test, before I even saw the thing about the Me Too, as soon as I read the initial article, I had a gut reaction that he wasn't being 100% truthful. Now, for somebody that went through this as a kid, I talked about this in the video the other day. My biggest fear was people not believing me or people blaming me. And what I'm doing here, my gut reaction is that he's being disingenuous. You know, and I hate to say that. I didn't want to make this video, but I keep coming back to this conclusion that he's not being 100% honest, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, like I said, I anticipate being called out for this. Because just a day or two ago, I stood up for the victims in the Danny Masterson thing and all that. And here I am saying that I don't believe this guy. But I got to be honest, it's my gut instinct, and it just keeps getting stronger as I look deeper into this article. Let me read what he wrote. This just happened Sunday. Now, he says that he gives the flat story that he was assaulted. That he's a nice guy. He just says he was in the airport at New York City Port Authority and JFK Airport, and he had unwanted advances made on him by a police officer, and he took a picture of the police officer. Now I'm going to read to you exactly what he wrote on his IG. I don't think this is still posted on his Instagram account. There's one of a picture of him, and he's leaving JFK, and he's got long hair, and it's a picture looking up at his face, and it says, "Finally leaving JFK. I never want to come back here again." Now that post is still up on Instagram, but this post, the picture of the policeman, he takes a picture of one policeman. And the police have a whole different side of this too. The police have a different recollection, a different story of what actually happened here. And on the police account of this, they were called for a disorderly person, deplaning. A disorderly person, meaning, you know, and my first guess is somebody that's intoxicated. And this is before I knew that he might have a drug problem. Like I said, I don't know if he does or not, but apparently he failed 2 drug tests, and it wasn't for weed. So he's deplaning, and they get a call for somebody that's disorderly. And that's their representation of it. Now, I think when you go on a call for a disorderly person at the airport, I'm guessing there's got to be more than one police officer, too. And if he's disorderly, I'm wondering if he's being searched, but I'll get to that in a second. So this is what he says. He takes a picture of this one police officer that he says assaulted him. And this is what he says underneath it. He says, it says, "Riddle Bro." That's his name on Instagram, Riddle Bro. "Nothing like being sexually assaulted by a police officer and harassed at JFK Airport. No means no." Now, there's a few things that stick out. As soon as I read it, no means no. That's usually, to be honest, you know, like I was sexually assaulted by a police officer when I was younger, but no means no. That reminds me of something that women say, like for the Me Too movement. Some of the stuff he says here, I get the impression that he's still harboring a grudge for being called out during this Me Too thing, being accused possibly of assaulting women, and now he is playing himself as the victim. This is the impression I get. I could be wrong, but this is without a doubt. This is my gut feeling on this. Okay, he says no means no, and just because I'm a nice person doesn't mean yes, a-hole. You know, and to me, as soon as I read that, he's a wrestler, he's an MMA fighter. And he says, they got a call for a disorderly person at the airport. And he says, he's a nice person. You know, like he's just being the nicest person in the world. And somebody came up to him and grabbed him. You know, and just like I said, something just doesn't ring true here. He says, don't know then it's a spelling mistake. He says that he don't know their Twitter or Instagram handles. And he says they are the abbreviation for they are instead of their, THEIR or THIER handles. But I took pictures. He actually took one picture of the police officer and one picture of him, so a selfie. So I don't know if that constitutes. It sounds like he's being disingenuous. As soon as I read this, normally I'm like whatever, but today was really weird and uncomfortable. And they made a point to make me feel small and useless. They made a point to make me feel small. And now this kind of thing happened to me when I was a kid. And I don't ever, you know, it's just odd for him to say small and useless. He's a WWE wrestler, an MMA fighter, high school wrestler. And all of a sudden he feels small and useless. Even if this did happen, I don't, that feeling, a man that can obviously protect himself, small and useless. It makes me feel like he's harboring bad feelings towards me when he might have been accused during the Me Too movement. And he sounds to me like he's saying things that he heard people say about him back during the Me Too thing. If he was accused of being inappropriate with women, that's what it sounds like to me. That just, there's just things in this that stick out like a sore thumb to me. And I wasn't going to talk about it. I wasn't going to make this video, but there's a reason I'm making this, especially if he is being disingenuous. It ticks me off. Okay, it says, definitely one of the most uncomfortable travel days I've ever had. Thanks, NYC. You're so progressive and accepting. Now, when he said that stuck out to me too. Thanks, NYC. You're so progressive and accepting. It sounds to me like he's got a political axe to grind here. And I looked where he was from, and he's actually from Allentown, Pennsylvania, initially, from at first. I believe he moved to upstate New York. I think his permanent home is in Las Vegas now. Obviously, he's a professional wrestler, and he moves around a lot. But he's originally from Allentown, Pennsylvania. You know, when he says you're so progressive and accepting, you know, I'm trying to figure out. At first, I wondered if he was gay. You know, I was wondering if somebody tried to take advantage of him, knowing, you know, it was another guy that thought he was gay or something along those lines. But that's not it. He's married, and like I said, then looking at trying to figure out in what manner he's saying this. You're so progressive. Thanks, NYC. You're so progressive and accepting. It sounds like he's being sarcastic. It sounds to me like he's got a political axe to grind here. So that's it. You know, and like I said, just my first instinct, my first guess here is, like the police said. The police said that they got a call for somebody who was disorderly, deplaning. And I would imagine they would at least send two policemen if somebody's being disorderly coming off a plane, you know, to handle the situation. You know, it wouldn't just be Riddle and the cop, you know, in some secluded location where the cop just reaches out and kind of grabs him. You know, and I feel bad saying this because that actually happened to me by a cop, you know, and one of my biggest fears was people not believing me. But, you know, I have a hard time making this video, but my gut instinct here is this guy is just not being... I believe that he does probably have a problem with substance abuse. I believe that he was probably had a buzz and he probably got out of hand on the plane. He's a WWE superstar. I don't believe for a second he's ever felt small or useless in his life. This thing about he's a nice guy, and he no means. I get the feeling that he's harboring a grudge here. I think the cops are called. I think he was probably rude at first. They don't know. I mean, I'm sure you go through a scanner before you get on the plane, but that means you can still carry all sorts of stuff on you. You know, just because you're not carrying metal or whatever, you could still, you know, I could still see them searching him if he's coming off a plane and being disorderly, because that's what I think happened here. I think they went up and talked to him. He was being disorderly. They might have put hands on him at some point, maybe just to keep him still or to maybe to pat him down initially. And he just didn't like this. And he, you know, and he goes back, he's got a buzz. He goes back to when he was accused of the Me Too movement. And he's like, well, I'm the victim now, and I'm going to spin it this way. You know, and that's you know, I could be wrong, but that's the feeling I get. When I went to his Instagram page, it was just one of his fans after the next. Like, when will people realize that this is so wrong, bro? You know, and they all believe him, and they're all saying that's terrible that you were assaulted and this other stuff. And, you know, God help me if I'm wrong here, but I get the gut impression, I do, from somebody that was actually sexually assaulted by a police officer. A lot of things just don't, it just doesn't ring true for me. It really doesn't. And like I said, God help me if I'm wrong on this. And here's the thing: if he is being disingenuous and dishonest in this, and just trying to be vindictive against the cops that were called because he was being disorderly, and being angry about being accused by women before, if he is doing that, that's just one more person that makes it harder for people that were really assaulted, like me, to come out and tell the truth, because he's making it hard to believe. That's, you know, like I said, if it's my gut feeling, you know, like I said, and God help me if I'm wrong on this. Let me know what you think. I've been up for a couple hours now looking into this, and I put a lot of work into looking at his background and stuff, and it's not even that. It's just the first time I read this, I just got the gut impression from somebody that was assaulted by a police officer for years. I don't think something doesn't ring true here for me. Let me know what you think. It is what it is now. It's out there. The video's downloaded. Let me know what you think. Have a good Monday.